Hi, fifth graders. Welcome back to Persuasive Writing. Today is session 8, and we will be talking about counter arguments or counterclaims. So before we get started, I wanted to ask you a question / tell you a story. So have you ever been in the middle of an argument or a debate and you were trying to convince someone of something, and you thought for sure when you gave them your reasons that they would agree with you, but then they ended up coming back with something to prove you wrong, and you get a little bit flustered because you weren't prepared for them to say that, and you have to quick think on your feet of another argument to prove them wrong. Well, I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I tried to convince my dad to buy me a new phone, and I had come up with all of these reasons, such strong reasons. My old phone was broken, and the internet wasn't working, it was going so slow, the battery was dying. I had come up with all of these reasons that I thought were guaranteed to convince my dad to buy me a new phone. But I wasn't ready for his response. I hadn't anticipated that he would come up with a counter-argument or a counterclaim. He said, well, we don't need to buy you a new phone because you can just use your brother's old one. It works perfectly fine. And I was very defeated. I thought I had him. I thought I was going to get a new phone. I came up with all of these reasons, but I did not prepare myself for his counterclaim. So I did not have another argument to back myself up and prove him wrong. So in order to create the strongest argument that you possibly can, you need to think through both sides of an argument and prepare yourself for what the other side might say. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So today's teaching point: persuasive writers anticipate the counterclaim to an argument. So we anticipate what the other side is going to say. And we acknowledge that counterclaim. So in our papers, we are going to acknowledge what the other side of the argument might believe. Then writers rebut the counterclaim, meaning they disprove it. So we are going to, in our papers, think about what the other side of the argument might say, acknowledge it in our paper, and then disprove them or prove them wrong. So let's talk about what some of these big words mean. So have you ever heard the word counterclockwise, counteract, counterstrike? That prefix counter means to go against. So when you think of counterclockwise, we're going in the opposite direction, okay, that a clock would normally go. So the word counterclaim is a claim that goes against your argument. It is the opposing side of your debate. In other words, it is what you imagine the other side would say about your claim. Somebody who disagrees with you. So for example, if I were to make the argument that all kids should have cell phones at school, somebody who disagrees with me might make the counterclaim that cell phones at school are a distraction. So now I've thought about what the other side of the argument might say. Now, when we're writing our papers, when we think through both sides and we prepare ourselves to form a rebuttal against a counterclaim, what it's doing is it's making us stronger in our debate. So creating a strong argument requires you to anticipate your opponent's next move. So think about it like a game of chess. When you're playing a game of chess, before you decide where you're going to go, you're thinking ahead. How might my opponent move next? And what can I do to ensure that that doesn't get me trapped and that I can for sure win in the end? Okay, so that's what you need to be doing when you're thinking about your counterclaim. You need to prepare yourself to form a rebuttal to your opponent's claim. A rebuttal is an argument that proves that a claim is false. So I'm going to give you an example of this. So here we have a conversation between a son and a mother. So this boy is making a claim to his mom. He's saying, "Mom, I need a cell phone so I can talk to my friends and have one in case of an emergency." So he's made a claim. He wants his cell phone, and he's given some reasons. He wants to talk to his friends, and he needs one in case of an emergency. But his mom comes back with a counterclaim and says, "You don't need a cell phone, sweetie. Having a cell phone will distract you from doing your homework." Ah, man, now he's a little bit flustered, thinking, I gave my claim and my reasons, but what can I do to prove my mom wrong? This won't distract me. So he comes back and says, "Some might think cell phones are a distraction, but I can actually use the internet on my cell phone as a resource to help me complete my homework more efficiently." So this is his rebuttal. This is how he comes back and proves his mom's counterclaim wrong. So then she replies, "Well, I guess that makes sense. I'll talk to your father about getting you one. You must be responsible about it, though." So preparing yourself to disprove a counterclaim strengthens your argument and makes you more likely to persuade your audience. When you can think about what they might say and be prepared to have an answer in response to that, your argument is going to be that much stronger. So what are the steps to creating a rebuttal to somebody's counterclaim? First, you need to think through both sides of the argument. Do some research on the other side of your topic to get some ideas about what reasons they might use in their counterclaim. What might they say to you in response to your argument? Then you're going to pick one reason that you would imagine they would use. So just like you, they will try to use a strong reason to prove you wrong. So you've come up with strong reasons. You have to imagine what they might use as their strongest reason to prove you wrong. Anticipate their move to take your argument down. So think about, what reason might someone give me if they were trying to prove me wrong? Then you need to find evidence to support your rebuttal to their counterclaim. So what evidence can you use to disprove their counterclaim? So for example, this young boy used the evidence that cell phones can be a resource to help him complete his homework more efficiently in order to disprove his mom's counterclaim that he will have a hard time focusing on his homework if he has a cell phone. All right? So he's thought through what she might say to him, and he's prepared himself to prove her wrong. So let's take a look at my example. So in my boxes and bullets, I have gone ahead and done a little bit of thinking and a little bit of research. So I have asked myself, this is where you will be working today in your counter argument. It says, think about the other side of your argument. If someone disagreed with you on this topic, what might their reasons be? So I have done a little bit of research, and what I did was, since my topic is that all kids should play a team sport, I researched what are the drawbacks or the cons of playing sports. So if somebody didn't want their kid to play a sport, what might they say to me to argue that team sports are not very good for kids? Well, I did some research and I found several reasons. Some of the others were maybe that there's a lot of pressure in sports, or that it can cause tension between the relationships between parents and kids because there's so much pressure to perform well. But I thought that the strongest reason that somebody might use against me would be, some might think playing sports will distract kids from their schoolwork. This was a reason that I found against playing sports. And I thought, you know what, I think if somebody were to argue against me, this is the reason that they would use. This is what they would use as their counterclaim to try to take down my argument. So I have prepared myself. In case somebody were to say this to me, I have prepared myself with a response or a rebuttal to disprove them. My rebuttal in response to this reason or this counterclaim is that playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. So if I were to write this in my paper, it might sound something like, some might think playing sports will distract kids from their schoolwork, but playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. So think back to that teaching point. We said in our paper, we are going to think about what a counterclaim might be, which is what I've done. I'm going to acknowledge it in my paper. I'm going to recognize that some people might think this negatively about my argument, but then I'm going to provide a rebuttal. And I'm going to say, well, actually, that's not true. Then, in order to prove your rebuttal, you need to provide some evidence. So for example, I have gone ahead and I've done some research to figure out how playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. I have to support that with evidence. So I found 3 pieces of evidence. My first one is that sports and physical activity positively impacts academic performance as it encourages the enhancement of brain function and cognition through increasing blood flow to the brain. So that's very wordy. I think when it comes to writing my paper, I'm going to paraphrase that. But essentially what it's saying is that sports and physical activity increases the blood flow to your brain, and it positively impacts your performance on your academics. So that does in fact prove that sports help improve academic performance. My second piece of evidence is that students who participate in curricular or extracurricular physical activities, such as sports, have also shown a higher commitment to school and an increased desire and ability to participate in school life. My third piece of evidence that I found that proves that sports help with school is that regular participation in sports and physical activity leads to greater attentiveness in classrooms, which increases a student's ability to concentrate on, absorb, and recall content and subject materials. So, I found lots of evidence that proves that sports actually do in fact help kids with their academics and with their homework. So I have prepared myself for any counterclaim regarding this that will come my way. So if somebody were to say to me, sports distract kids from their schoolwork, I am now prepared with lots of evidence to prove them wrong. So what you're going to do today is you are going to, let me go back to my slide and show you. Let's see. So your task is to research potential counterclaims for your topic. So what might be some reasons against your topic? Then you're going to decide which counterclaim would most likely be used in an argument against you. So if someone were to argue against you, what reason would they most likely use? Pick one. Then you're going to create a rebuttal and support it using 2 to 3 pieces of evidence, just like I did, and you're going to include it in your boxes and bullets. So I noticed that I forgot to copy and paste my source. So if you take a look at your boxes and bullets, you might be a little bit confused because the format that I used, I created before and I sort of edited a little bit. All right, so here you will see that it says the counter argument. This is where you are, under reason number 1, this is where you will put the counterclaim, okay? This is the reason that they are going to give in their counterclaim against you. Then on the right is where you will form your rebuttal. So my rebuttal is that playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. And then in that same box, I would like you to list at least 2 to 3 pieces of evidence. Okay, so see how I have evidence 1, evidence 2, and evidence 3. I wish I would have set it up that way in your boxes and bullets, but it's okay because you all are very tech savvy and you can just go ahead and type that in. So you are going to write the counterclaim reason here that you think someone would give you. Then you're going to list your rebuttal. Then you're going to give 2 to 3 pieces of evidence below that. And this is where you will list your source for your rebuttal. So that is where I found my evidence to go along with my rebuttal. Now this reason number 2, optional, you do not have to fill that in. That is just if you wanted to do a double rebuttal and say they may say this, they may also say this in their counterclaim. But then you would also have to prove that wrong with a second rebuttal and second evidence. So it is a little bit extra work. You can go ahead and do 2 different counterclaims and 2 rebuttals if you would like. But I think for most of you, it might be a good idea to just stick with the one just so that you can focus all of your energy into that. Okay? All right, so for today, you're filling in your boxes and bullets for your counter argument. Like I said, counter argument here, rebuttal, and then 2 to 3 pieces of evidence to support your rebuttal as well. Okay? So that is it for today. Let us know if you have any questions.